All right, Ji. Can you all see the questions over here on the screen? Please go ahead, solve these questions, and as soon as you have the answer to each part, write down your answers in the meeting chat box over here, the class meeting that we're having. Mr. Elias, can you tell me what does it mean finding difference between two numbers? I can't hear you. 146. G. Mr. Elias, you got the right answer. So you can, while during the class, you can write in the chat over here of the meeting. The difference is 146. Correct answer, Miss Aisha. Miss Anam, minus 146. Correct. Miss Anam. So we are given two numbers over here. The first number is 58 and the second number is minus 88. These are two different temperatures that have been noted, one in Libya and the other in Antarctica. So if I have to find the difference between the two, all I have to do is I have to subtract them. That is how I find difference between two numbers. So either I do minus 58 minus 88, or I do, sorry, 1 second, I made a mistake over here. Either I do 58, which is the first number, minus the other number is minus 88, so it would become 58 plus 88, which is 146. Or the other way I can do it is I say the first number is minus 88 and I subtract from it the other number minus 58. This is the first number, this is the second number, both subtracted. The answer would be minus 146. So in both cases, I can see the difference in absolute amount. How much is the difference? That is 146. Okay, ji. Quickly on to the second question. One hint for the second question. It reads, my bank account shows a credit balance of 105. So credit balance means that I have this balance, this $105, they are there in my bank account. All right. So read on the remaining of the question and please let me know the answers of part A, B, C, D, and E. Ms. Anam, did you get the first question? The answer to the first question? Just a second. Good question. Here is the answer. Either this or this. G. I'm looking at that. So these transactions, they happen in sequence. So first transaction A happens. What would be your balance after transaction A? Then transaction B happens. After having happened the transaction A, what would be your balance now? And then the next transaction and so on. Ji, Miss Anam, did you get the answer for part 1, question 1? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Insurance, car insurance. So for his car insurance, he would be paying the premium. For part A, that's correct. How about you people solve all of them and write down your answers on your notebook, and we'll discuss all the answers together for different parts in one go at the end. A tip for the exam purposes, usually you would have the unit written on your markings on the question script on which you are writing your answers. But at times the units they might not be mentioned. So if they are not, you have to write the answer with units. So over here the unit would be dollars. So for part A, as most of you told, the answer would be minus $35. You're getting it. So if initial credit balance it meant that you have this money, then more credit transfer would mean you receive more money. Achha, does any of you take accounting as well besides this? Hmm. So for accounting students, it would be relatively easier to understand the what's the credit balance mean on the bank statement or for your bank balance and what debit balance means. For others, it might be a bit confusing, so I won't go into that detail if you aren't all taking the accounting as a subject. Ji, when you have all done it, just write done in the chat box and then I'll discuss the solution. Okay, Ji, let's quickly match the answers. For the first one, you had a positive balance initially 105 and then you made a payment of 140. So most of you told the right answer that you'd get minus 35 as the balance. Then the next transaction, you pay an insurance of 283 car insurance, and that would mean that this amount further reduces your balance minus 283. So that would mean your balance it would become minus 318. Excellent, excellent. Then you receive 1 week's salary, so your answer it would increase by 230. So it would become, wouldn't it become minus 88? G, which of you can confirm Arman sir minus 318 minus 88? G, which of you is not getting minus 88 other than Ilyas? G, Miss Anam. So you already have a balance of negative 318 in your bank account, right? If you have negative 318, then you receive salary 230. So minus 318 plus 230. What would be the answer? Jimmy Sanam, do you get it now? And where did we get 318 from? Okay. So you had an initial balance of 105 and then you paid a rent of 140. So your balance became minus 35. Once it became minus 35, then you had a car insurance payment that you had to make. So minus 35, this balance is further going away from your bank account, reducing money in your bank account. So minus 35 minus 283. Minus 35 minus 283, you get minus 318. And from this minus 318, there is another there is an increase of salary, positive 230. So your balance becomes minus 88. Then you have a food bill to pay. When you pay this food bill, this amount would be deducted from the minus 88 that was there in your bank account. So minus 88 minus 72, it would become minus 160. And then you get a credit transfer, you receive money in your bank account. So your bank account from minus 160, it becomes positive. I mean, 150 gets added to it, 250 gets added to it. So it becomes positive 90 in the end. Ji Ilyas, did you get it? So after transaction D, do you have balance of minus 160 in your bank account? Then on top of minus 160, you received 250. So minus 160 plus 250, your answer would be positive 90. Miss, Miss Noor, did you get the answer? Which part? Okay, I'll explain this part to Miss Noor. The rest of you, if you could please move to question number 3 and 4. Miss Noor, listen carefully one more time. Let's see. So initially, what was the balance in your bank account? Quickly. Miss Noor, what was the balance in your bank account? Then you paid a rent of 140. What would your balance become now? So if you have 105 in your bank account and you make a payment of 140. Acha, everyone who got the answers right, Miss Aisha, Sir Arman, and not Mr. Ilyas. Ji, the answer would become minus 35. Minus 35. Uh, can Sir Arman or Miss Aisha tell me why is there a negative bank balance? What does that mean? Can your bank balance become negative? So what's happening? Just one more thing to one. Hmm, hmm, hmm. There is just one small correction. This isn't called taking a loan. When your bank balance it becomes negative, it's called bank overdraft. It is called bank overdraft. So the question is, if you have 105 in your bank account, can you make a payment of 140 from your bank account when you have only 105 in your bank account? So at times when you have good relations with the bank and the bank knows your history, the bank allows you a facility which is called bank overdraft, current liability. So that would mean that the bank is allowing you to withdraw more money than you have in your bank account, and whenever there is next inflow of money, the bank would take aside the amount that it had lent you initially. Okay, so that's called bank overdraft. So if ever you see the term bank overdraft on your question paper, for maths question paper, you would know that it means negative bank balance. Bank overdraft means negative bank balance. Okay, Miss Noor, so right now my balance is negative 35. I pay a further an insurance of 283. What would my bank balance become now? The rest of you who have solved this question, you can move on to question number 3 and 4. So you have $105 in your bank account. You make a payment of 140. Wouldn't your balance become minus 35? Do you know? I mean, do you agree with that or not? So once your bank balance is negative 35, you make a further payment of 283. What would your bank balance become now? If you're making a payment, would that reduce your balance or increase your balance? You're making a payment, would that increase your bank balance or reduce your bank balance? Reduce. So should you add or should you deduct? Deduct. So minus 35 minus 283 minus 318. Excellent. Then you receive a salary. Would that increase your balance or reduce your balance? Miss, when you receive salary, your bank balance would increase. So if it increases this 230, it should be added to the previous minus 318. So minus 318 plus 230. What does it become? Quickly. Minus 88. Once it has become minus 88, then you pay a bill of 72. Would that increase balance, decrease balance? Reduce balance, decrease balance. There is a payment. So minus 88 minus 72. Minus 160. And then you receive 250. That would increase your balance, right? When you receive the money. So minus 160 plus 250. 90. Excellent. G, once you have the answers to question number 3 and question number 4, just let me know that you have solved it and then we'll discuss. Arman. Okay. All right, everyone, just let's just discuss question number 3 and question number 4. So it says that the roof of an apartment block is 130 meters above the ground level. So over here, if I draw a line and say this is the ground level, and 130-meter above it, there is a roof. So 130 meters above it, there is roof. Okay. And then it says the car parked beneath the apartment is 35 meters below the ground level. So this was the ground level over here. The car parked is 35 meters below the ground level. So this is where car is parked, and this is 35 meters. Okay. So now I have to tell how high is the roof above the car park. So this is car park. The height of car park and ground level, that is 35. And then we have to find the difference between the roof and the car park. So we simply add the 130 and 35. So the answer would be 165. Any confusion in this, Miss Noor? Miss Noor? Miss Anam? Any confusion? Miss Anam? Okay, ji. Quickly on to question number 4. The question number 4 says submarine is at a depth of 165 meters. So here is the ocean surface, and here is the submarine, and this is at a depth of how much? 165 meters. The ocean floor is 860 meter from the surface. Okay, so from the surface, this is the ocean floor, and this is how much below? This is 860 meters below. So this distance is 860 meters. And now it asks how far is the submarine from the ocean floor? What is this distance equal to? So I know from this total of 860, I have to deduct 165, and that would give me the difference of height between the submarine and the ocean floor. So 860 minus 165, that would be 600, 695, 695. Gee, did everybody get 695, or are you people getting a different answer? 165. Okay. Moving on to the next topic that we have, and now we learn the topic of rounding and significant figures. Rounding and significant figures. Chiranji. I'll discuss just one question, or one type of question rather, and we can discuss this topic in more detail in the next class. So these topics are relatively easy, so I want to move through them as quick as possible so that we have more time to spend on relatively difficult topics. Okay, so this is the question over here, and we have to round up the values to one decimal place. So it means after the decimal, we are allowed to have one figure. So for the first one, I'll just do the first one, and the remaining you can do as homework. The first one, it says 5.58. So it means I have to get rid of this 8. Since this 8 is more than 5, it means the number behind it, this 5, it gets 1 added to it. So it will become 5.6. Excellent. Excellent. Similarly, if I do this one over here, 157.39, it would give me G. Miss Anam, what would 157.39 become? One second. G. Miss Anam, 157.39. So we are allowed to keep one digit after the decimal, right? So it means we have to get rid of this 9. Yes? Is 9 more than 5 or not? More than 5. So it would mean 3, it would get 1 added to it. We get rid of 9, and instead of getting rid of 9, in place of, for the, to compensate for that, we add 1 to this 3. So it would become 157.4. Okay. Miss Noor, can you tell me from 2 for 2.95, what would it become? It would stay the same and we would remove the 5G. Anybody else who has a different answer? Or do you all have, how many people say it would become 2.9? Is 2.10 more than 2.9, or first of all it is 2.10? The digits after the decimal we individually pronounce them. This one would become 3.0. Excellent. Everyone look over here carefully. So what we do is, in order to get rid of this 5, since it's 5 or more, it means we add 1 to this. And if we add 1 to, so we are adding 2.9 plus 0.1. So what does it become? It becomes 3. 3.0. Okay? Miss Anna, you look confused. So you have 2.95, right? For 2.95, you have to get rid of this 5. Since it's 5 or more, it means something would be added to the number behind it. So 1 gets added to it, right? In this 9, I would add 1. What does it become if I add 1 to 9? 10. So it means this would become 0, and that 1 of the 10, it would get added to 2, so it would become 3. 3.0. Okay. Quickly for the two decimal places, 6.473. Since we are allowed to keep 2 digits after the decimal, we'll get rid of this third one. And since this is below 5, the answer would be 6.47. Okay. And then for 0.088, we are allowed to keep 2. So we keep 0 and 8. We have to get rid of this 8. It is more than 5. So it would mean that we add 1 to the digit below it, behind it. So it would become 0.09. Mr. Elias, are you getting this? Okay. And then for 99.9966, again the same thing. Since we are allowed to keep these two, we have to get rid of 6. It is 5 or more, so it means we add 1 to this 9. If we add 1 to it, this becomes 10. So it becomes 0 and 1 gets added to the number digit behind it. So this 9 also becomes 10. So it also becomes 0 and 1 gets added to this one over here. And that would make it 100.00. Okay. G. So we'll keep the lesson till here, and the remaining questions I'll just leave for you to practice at home. And that's it. The next class, everybody is on. When's the next class? Wednesday, same time, 7 p.m. UAE time and 6 p.m. KSA or Kuwait time. All right. See you all in the next class, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Most welcome. Most welcome.